All right, Jay, over to you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, welcome everyone. Today's thought for today is from Noam Chomsky. Optimism is a strategy for a better future, because unless you believe that the future can be better, you're unlikely to step up and take responsibility for making it so. With that thought for today, I would like to see if we have any guests today, and I do know we have at least one guest. Lisa, do you want to introduce your guest?
Yes, I would be happy to introduce everybody to my friend John Duffin, who lives in the Rittenhouse area. He and I met through his interest in voiceover, and now we're part of the same voiceover workout group, and our paths are crossing, and he also has a real estate job. So John, if you could just take your 30 seconds to say hi to everyone and give you a little elevator speech, please.
My pleasure. Lisa, first off, thanks for including me on this. I'm delighted to be just participating today. Love how this organization sounds in regards to service before self. For me, as Lisa said, I was lucky to meet Lisa. I've just embarked for about 1 year in regards to a voiceover career. I came out of a broadcast advertising and sales career where I was for close to 30 years. So currently I have a full-blown voiceover career. I also am a licensed realtor with Keller Williams Real Estate in Philadelphia. And also I've learned how to tell time, so I can tell you that my 30 seconds part I get. I'm very grateful to be included, and I look forward to meeting all of you. So Lisa, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here, John. Thanks.
Thank you. Do we have other guests other than our speaker today? Okay. Then we'll move forward. Today, Lisa's going to lead a short session on what we've learned during quarantine or lockdown or shelter in place, whatever the proper terminology is. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Lisa.
Yes, and I want to say that Sandy had come up with this suggestion several meetings ago, and I just thought it was perfect. So now that we've had even more time to endure the quarantine, let's talk about what we've all learned. And if you had to just pick one lesson or one observation that came from your time in quarantine, we'll go around the room and everybody share, briefly. I will start and just say that I was, having grown up in Queens, New York City, and loving Center City, Philly, I'm really kind of surprised at how peaceful I'm feeling here in suburbia. So I'm really kind of resonating with and appreciating the quiet of it and the peacefulness and getting away from the crowd. So that's been interesting for me because I always considered myself such a city girl. So with that lesson, I will now move on to Jay and then Patricia and then Dr. Jeff Cabot. Jay, what's yours?
How much time do we have?
I'll just pick one.
Well, I guess I learned to be resilient and learn to maybe pivot a little bit more than I have in the past, particularly with my work life as well as balancing it off with Rotary. So it's been an interesting time for me, reflection. But I should mention too, similar to Lisa, I noticed birds in the backyard now that I don't think I ever did before. So,
and it's lovely. Yes, thanks, Patricia, and then Jeff, and then Rosanna, and then to our guest John and our speaker Joe at the end. If you would like to contribute to the conversation, we're happy to hear your lessons as well. So, Patricia.
So I've learned that I really like my own company and I quite like working at home, but I need people to energize me, and I miss that human, like the personal in the same room connection. So although I'm not having a problem with the quarantine per se, when I get down, I realize I need to, just talk to real people, not just over the phone or in Zoom, but I am grateful.
Thanks, Patricia. Dr. Jeff?
Hello, everyone. Gosh, yeah, as Jay said, I've learned a lot of things. But I guess thinking back, the thing that really struck me the most is about the environment. And when you see these pictures of city skylines with no smog and all this stuff that takes me back to my childhood when everything was different, and how much that we actually really do affect the environment.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll move on to Rosanna, and then Akira, and then Marva. Rosanna, you want to share your lesson?
I want to share, actually, so Louis just disappeared, but I want to share something that he did. This is a project for school. And Louis, do you want to come here? Okay, no, he went away. He's shy. But this is a project they did for school. And it was like what each child saw out of their window. And we live downtown on a high rise. And this is what Louis sees every day. He sees a lot of ambulances coming by, sick people getting out of the ambulances, or sometimes in cars, they come over. But on the windows of this building right next to us, even though there's a lot of sick people, there's all these messages that they're putting there. They're saying, you know, hope, believe, you know, and so it's like, even though there's, you know, things that are going on and there's a pandemic going on, there's still optimism, you know, still people still believe in caring for each other. And, you know, so it's, I wanted to share this, you know.
Lovely.
I thought it was something interesting.
From a children's view. That's lovely. Thank you. Akira, can you unmute yourself and share your lesson? And then we'll do, hi, Akira, what is your lesson?
Oh, my lesson is, I've been wondering what it would be like to retire. And I didn't really feel very strongly the change of my life during after retirement, because you go to lab and you don't go to lab now. It's like Sunday every day, and I got a little taste of what happens to the retirement, and I start thinking more seriously about retirement. Because I don't want to be just like living dead. So that was a good lesson to me.
Good lesson. All right. Thank you, Akira. We'll have Marva's lesson, and then Oscar, and then Dr. Christopher Koffer. So Marva, would you like to share your lesson?
I've always considered myself a people person, but I really miss that interaction and with people, family especially. So no man is an island, no man stands alone has a whole new meaning for me. Also, I really admire the kindness and you know, the community that has evolved as a result of this whole pandemic. So there's this, it's just so much, as Jeff said, but those two really stand out for me, that I really wanna, and I hate restrictions. I hate to be boxed in.
Yeah.
So what I mean?
I think we could actually have a whole meeting on like a lot of lessons, right? Because there's more than one. Coming in this time. We'll move on to Oscar, and then Chris Koffer, then the Batoris.
Yeah, mine is the importance of being willing to change. You know, I think that in business and in life, we can all get a big lift if we're willing to change before people are, and kind of get ahead of the curve. So that's my lesson.
Thank you, Oscar. Chris Koffer.
Feeling of gratitude that we are so well in the entire family. So far, we had 2 cases of corona in the family with proven antibodies. All are well. Just keep our fingers crossed for a vaccine, maybe next year, not much sooner. And then we can go out and meet people again.
Thank you, Chris. Joan and Joe, and then Kurt, and then Bill Thomas and Sandy.
I echo Jeff's comments about the environment, the peace, the quiet, the air quality. I noticed that the air quality here has improved significantly. It's been as high as 117 on smoggy days in the summer. And right now, with the refinery closed, with lack of transportation, it's running more in the 30s. And it's unfortunate that we can't get out to enjoy it. I've also learned that today's Philadelphians are much better behaved than in previous years when notoriously we threw snowballs and booed Santa Claus at the Eagles game. I'm shocked that we're so well behaved. It must be the influx of new people that has tamed us a little bit and calmed us down. But it's refreshing, actually. Although we're losing our Philly edge a little bit. So I don't know what will happen as life as we used to know it is restored.
Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah, thanks. How about you, Joe?
I've become much more of a believer in virtual. I sit on a board, a scholarship board that has several $1 million, and we had a meeting to award scholarships, and I thought, how are we going to do this? We did it virtually, and we gave out $120,000 in a very nice meeting, and we saw each other, and the scholarships are running forward. The other one, the organization that we're supporting, Musicopia, which sends artists into the schools, cannot send them into the schools because no one's in the schools, so they have been creating videos with artists doing their teaching in the video, and I've been evaluating those videos so that the teaching can go on to kids who are at home. So I've become much more of a believer that this virtual stuff can work. Not my favorite, but it does work.
Thank you, Joe. Kurt, Bill Thomas, and then Sandy, please. Kurt.
Hey, everybody, it's nice to see you all. I've learned that every day is Groundhog Day. That's what I've learned. I was talking to one of my coworkers yesterday, and he was convinced it was Thursday yesterday, all day. Every time I talked to him, he couldn't get it out of his head. And it seems like you just get up, you do the same thing, and you know. But I do miss seeing everybody. Did I hear Akira correctly that at 90 years old he's thinking about retiring? God bless you. You are my idol. So, but, you know, just that I miss the little things in life.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Kurt. How about you, Bill Thomas?
I guess I've realized how important connection with people is. Really miss that, being able to go out and have a coffee, go to a restaurant, dine out with friends, go to meetings and be in person. And just, you know, virtual is fine, but you just don't have the human interaction that I think feeds me anyway. The other thing is sense of trappement, because, you know, we're trying to get back up to Canada. We've got family up there and elders, and we can't go. The border's closed. We waited too long, and we're just waiting now. It's going to be another month before we get up and family. Well, that's a little frustrating.
Yes, definitely. All right. Well, thanks, Bill. Sandy, your lesson from quarantine, please. Oh, she's muted.
No.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I can't, apparently, I can't get the gallery view, and I can't see participants, and it keeps going around and around saying waiting. So I didn't even know that you guys could see me.
Well,
So
we can. Can everybody hear and see Sandy?
Yep, I see you.
yeah, Oscar, is there some way that it keeps on going around that says waiting?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really do anything about it. The best you can do is just exit and come back in.
I did try, and it wouldn't even let me leave and come back in.
Yeah,
It just, it's like frozen.
You could turn off your iPad by using the button.
Okay. Well, I'll just go ahead and speak, and then I'll get out and come back in. How's that?
Sure.
All right. I didn't want to because I'm having trouble and it's frustrating. I wrote to Jay and said, can you ask Oscar? Because normally I thought the person can control it, but I'll get out and come back in and see. Anyhow, I think for me, being alone and not seeing anybody for months, you know, it's been real interesting. But I found that 3 times a week I do take food out to the homeless, and I am very impressed how nice everybody is, how thankful they are, how they're, you know, people seem to be, as Joan and Joe said, much more relaxed and much and grateful for things. But I'm also surprised how happy I am even being alone. So I've always thought I was happy, but I'm actually pretty optimistic and positive. And I look forward to Rotary. So thank you all. And I'm going to try to get out and come back in.
Okay, Cindy. Thanks a
Thank you.
lot. Sure. So we've got two more then. If our guests would like to contribute to the conversation, we'll have John Duffin share a quick lesson if you'd like.
Sure, absolutely. And there's two things. Number one that I've learned, which is how important it is to stay connected with even people that you take for granted, like your immediate family and friends, and you just assume everybody's okay. And it's very important to me to make certain that I'm communicating often, because it takes some of the sting out of the situation when there is a continual back and forth. And the other thing I would add on top of that is that when I'm alone, I don't notice as much how different things are. But when I see someone else, like in the lobby of my building, that's when I'm reminded how different things are. And that's when things get a little bit more difficult for me. Mostly, as I said, again, it's remembering to stay in really close contact with family and friends. Thanks.
Thank you, John. And then Joe Smith, would you like to contribute to it?
Yes, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And the thing I've learned from this more than anything is I can work from home. I never thought that I had the discipline to work from home, because when I've done it in the past, it's like, well, I maybe get an hour or two worth of work done. Now it's become a necessity. And I have my routine just like I had at work, at the office. And I just go through, I get a checklist of things I need to do. And it's amazing how much work I can get done without the distractions. So, but we are lucky because both me and my wife can work from home. So instead of around 6:30, her leaving for work in one car, me going in another car, we just come up the steps. She goes to the back bedroom, I go to my room, and we spend the day. We meet for lunch and then go back to work and then meet for dinner. So it's changed things. But having said that, I can't wait until we can go back and actually start working in person again.
For sure, yeah.
Thank you.
There is something nice about a short commute, just going up the stairs. But thanks everybody. Yeah, that was a great conversation starter, and we all get to get a little glimpse into how it's all going for all of us. And again, maybe later we could have another meeting and revisit this, because there are more lessons we could share. Anyway, I will turn it back over to Jay. Thanks, everybody.
You're muted, Jay.
All right, now I'm unmuted. Okay, it was great hearing everyone's response to that very important question. I want to take time now if there are any committee announcements. I know I have a few that I'd like to make, but I wanted to open up to any of the committees.
Nottingham, we have two individuals from our happy hour group, David Burnett and Megan Miller. And I've asked Karen Masato from our group to help coordinate the next Zoom meeting with our twin club in Nottingham, England. So we'll be making progress on that. You know, the difference in time, it will be a little difficult for us. I think what we need to do, since there's a 5-hour difference and they meet on Mondays at 6 p.m. for dinner, which is not happening, but there's no dinner, but there is a meeting at 6 p.m. on Monday, which is 1 p.m. our time on Monday. We need to be able to determine what times most of us can attend a meeting. If we can attend a meeting on a Monday at 1 o'clock via Zoom, that would be great. If not, I think the next step will be to send out a doodle poll to everyone indicating, after we talk with Nottingham to see what their flexibility is, what would be the best time to maximize our joint participation of all three of our groups. So expect something like that in the future.
Great, thank you. Are there any other committee announcements?
Do you want me to update everybody on the foundation?
Thank you so much. I must have been sending a signal to you.
So the foundation board members met over the phone the last 2 Fridays. 2 Fridays ago, we met with Barry Schatzman, who is our investment advisor, and spent some time going through the investments and where they stand, and the impact of the coronavirus, the everything that we're dealing with in our personal lives from an investment side, just from a foundation side. We got some news that's not great to hear, but we also got some news that was fine. And then we met this past Friday and discussed all the grant requests that have been submitted, and went back and forth through them, and came up with I think it's granting a little over $20,000 that we agreed to, which will bring our total giving to the $30,000 amount that we have given in the past year. So we're excited about that. We're in a group, with full participation, if I remember correctly. So, it was good stuff. So that's kind of the update.
Thank you, Kurt. It was great work on the foundation board's part. Yeah, it was a 100% participation, which is great. And we want to spread the word about that. And I do have a segue to another topic, but I want to make sure that's related to that. Are there any other committee announcements?
I have an announcement, but it's not from the committee. It has to do with, since we have so many seniors on board, you can apply for a rebate property tax of $975, according to Governor Wolf. And I thought I would, just in case you didn't see it or file an appeal, you can apply for, you can get a form at pa.gov. I can't see anyone. Can you see me?
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a segue as well. But I think, $975 is a nice bit of change. And if you are over 60, you should apply and take advantage of it.
Right. Thank you, Marva.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any
Can I say
other
something?
announcements?
Can I say something, Jay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to say something about this weekend, Memorial Weekend. One of my favorite projects that the club has done over the years is to go to Laurel Hill Cemetery and place flags on the graves of veterans. And unfortunately, we can't do that this year, but Janine and I typically do a hike every weekend, and a couple weeks ago, we went, did a hike in Medford, and the trail went along a cemetery. So we spent a good half hour, 45 minutes in the cemetery, and it was Mother's Day weekend, so they had flags up for all the veterans, and we saw vets from World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and it just made me think about Memorial Weekend and what a great experience it was going up to Laurel Hill Cemetery. So I hope to do that again in the future, and just felt very emotional about that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite projects as well, Jeff.
Yeah, it is. I miss it.
Yeah.
So maybe we can get back to it for Veterans Day or something. I don't know.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah. Okay. Any other announcements? All right. I have a few. It's a segue from the foundation. One of the other pieces of business was to discuss picking one of the applications and grantees to look for a matching grant from the district. So we selected Reading Aloud, and this is a literacy program. It's an after-school program that provides reading, a certified reader for kids in North Philadelphia. So I am working with the organization to apply for a small grant to match the funding from the foundation, another $2,500. So it'll bring it up to $5,000 for this program. And Patricia and I were chatting a little earlier by email. This all happened pretty quickly. I'm going to get her in touch with Angela Marks. She's the executive director of the program, and see if we can get because we're going to need some Rotary involvement with this, some volunteer work, and maybe we can turn this into another great literacy project for next Rotary year, next school year. So I wanted to mention that.
If I can add to that, Jay?
Absolutely.
Angela did a presentation at the Happy Hour group about this program, and it's very science-based. It requires a donation of $8,000 to support a literacy coach who works with children who are reading below grade level one-on-one, which you know is extremely important to do. And she's had phenomenal results with multiple levels of reading from this program with individuals who would otherwise be trapped and be functionally illiterate. So that concept of that one-on-one tutoring is extremely important. And at least with this, if we get the matching grant, that $5,000 will at least contribute a significant amount of the total that is needed to employ one literacy coach. And as you mentioned, there is and can be the opportunity for Rotary involvement as well, which may help supplement that $3,000 difference, because we're all very involved. We've done things like this in the past, and it's always been to the credit of the club that we've had marvelous results. So congratulations to our Rotary Foundation board for selecting this project. It is extremely worthwhile.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it seems like a really good quality program. So we'll stay tuned. We'll have more information coming. The Gundaker Grant, I received the money. It's a small amount for LaGuardia Academy. It was for a total of $544 with the $200 match from the district. That brings it up to $744. I'd like to make it $1,000 donation for a scholarship at LaGuardia Academy. I am willing to contribute money if anyone else is, $20, $50, whatever you want to spare. Send me an email later after the meeting, and then I'm going to put the money together and we'll send it from the club, $1,000 scholarship. So I wanted to mention that. Also, this is really good news. Rotary each year provides a citation or award for clubs around the world who basically achieve some of the goals set forth by Rotary International. And I'm very pleased to find out and report to everyone here that the Rotary Club of Philadelphia will receive an award for its work in two categories: uniting people and connecting the community. And I'll explain more as this goes on. And we're going to receive it with presidential distinction, either the silver or gold level, depending upon how the year ends up. So this is a big coup for this club, and I think it's indicative of the board, the members, and the committee chairs and the committees themselves on how much work they did, because this is a combination of building membership, doing service projects, connecting to the community through social media and video and all these kinds of things that everyone worked on this year. So I'm very pleased to share that information. Thank you.
I think that deserves a round of applause. And also, I want to let everybody know, if you weren't familiar, there's a reactions button on your lower right-hand side, and with tapping the reaction button, you can show a little round of applause icon or give a thumbs up. So that's just a fun little trick that you may not have known about Zoom. So there we go, thumbs up.
I didn't.
I didn't know about that either. But I'd just like to add to that, that it's a credit to your leadership, Jay. Especially during these crazy trying times that we're dealing with, and how you've held us together, and just the vision that you have and your efforts, and I could go on and on and on, but really it's a credit to your leadership.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. So,
absolutely correct. Yeah, Jay, congratulations to you for your leadership and to everyone else in the club who made this possible. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep. So we'll get the award. I think it's August 15th, so it's a few months away, but It's a little like a Christmas present that I wanted to share in advance. So, all right. Very pleased to have our guest speaker here today. And I'll just say a few words about him and his organization. You may remember a few months back, Rotary International announced a partnership with Toastmasters. And, we want to explore how we can all work together. And I'm hoping that today I will learn, and all of us will learn a little bit more about Toastmasters and perhaps how we can work together to strengthen our local and international communities. Joe Smith, he has been a Toastmaster since 2013 and has served numerous leadership positions in his club and at the district level. He is currently the Club Growth Director for Toastmasters District 38, which encompasses Eastern Pennsylvania and Southeastern New Jersey. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Joe Smith.
Thank you, Jay. So we've all heard the joke that the number one fear is public speaking. Number two is death. So people would rather be in the casket than getting in the eulogy. And Toastmasters wants to fight that fear. And I've learned that the fear of public speaking is not the fear of public speaking. It's the fear of two things. One, not being perfect. And two, I forgot what I said. Oh, the fear of not being perfect and the fear of embarrassing yourself by not being perfect, which I just did there. And that's what Toastmasters has taught me to do. It's like, it's okay to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. You're never going to be perfect. So a little bit of the history about Toastmasters International. It was started by Ralph Smedley at the YMCA in Santa Ana, California in 1924. It's coming up on its 100th anniversary. It started in the basement of the school with a group of about 20 people. That initial club still exists today, even though the YMCA is not there. Over the last 100 years, it's spread to 143 countries, 17,000 clubs, and 358,000 active members. If you take all the people who have been Toastmasters over the years, it's probably over about 2 million. And that's what Toastmasters gets all the press for. When you hear the word Toastmasters, you think, okay, it's a public speaking group to get you over your fear of public speaking. It is so much more than that. That's what gets people in the door, but it also teaches you leadership skills and listening skills. Listening and hearing what people are saying is just as important as what you are saying yourselves, if not so. But the underlying thing it does is it teaches you confidence. And in preparing for this, I came across a piece of literature that I'd never seen before. And they said, confidence is the one thing that you can't teach. You can't tell somebody, be confident. There's no magic bullet to be confident. And just doing this over time helps you with getting over your fear of public speaking. Who are Toastmaster members? They are as diverse as you can imagine. They range from the minimum age for a Toastmaster is 18 years old. There's Toastmasters well into their 90s. And so it does men, women, I don't have the breakdown, but it's about 50-50. And the one thing that amazed me about Toastmasters, because I didn't think about it, is I started to look at leadership from different aspects of it. And it dawned on me at part that it's pretty much split 50-50 among men and women, because when you think of leadership positions, you don't think, oh, is that a man or a woman? It's something that's a unique Toastmasters International. As far as land of origin, all over the place. And I'll get into the clubs in a second, but the members, why they join. They join for many different reasons. One of the primary reasons is somebody messes up a project at work. And they say, you know what, this is embarrassing. I am going to learn to do this better. Some people get a promotion. We have a lot of people come into our club who they get a promotion. They're now in a customer facing position where they have to give them presentations in front of 10, 20, 30 people. And they go, I don't know how to do this. Another thing, some people just join for the social aspect. They like hanging out. They like being among like-minded members. But some join for social reasons where they're going to be the best man, maid of honor at a wedding, and they have to give a toast, and they're scared to death. They want someplace to practice it. And the one thing I've noticed about the fear of public speaking is most people will get over that after their first 3 or 4 speeches. I'm just going to go over, there's a couple different kinds of clubs in Toastmasters. Primarily, they're corporate clubs or community clubs. A corporate club is a club that is restricted to the membership of a specific company. Vanguard in Malvern, PA, they have 3 clubs. They're working to get 2 more chartered. And if you drive down, right down City Street, you look at any of the buildings with the Independence Blue Cross. I go by their initials. They have an organization. There are tons of them that are exclusively for members of their company. Most of them are lunchtime clubs. They meet strictly for an hour. They are extremely well run, to the minute, because they want to pack in as much as they can. The other type is a community club where they meet in libraries, restaurants, businesses after hours, and they're open to the general public. And that is my home club. I meet in a restaurant club. We meet in a bar restaurant. Well, during normal circumstances, and I'll get into COVID impact on us in a minute. But we eat and drink during our meetings because that is real life. When you're asked to give an award or present in front of people, it's not a sterile environment. You have to learn how to do with the distractions. And that's the other thing about clubs is every club is different. The analogy that I use is Toastmasters gives us the blueprints to the house and we can decorate it ourselves. So if you're looking for a Toastmasters club, don't just stick to the first one you come across, because you can go to 5 different clubs and they're different cultures. We have a couple of clubs in the district, and there are 170 some clubs in our district right now. And we have some that it's like going to school, and others that are more laid back and relaxed. So it's finding one that meets your own needs. And what does a meeting look like? Or let me explain the program a little bit, then I'll explain what the meeting looks like. The program it's open-ended. One of the first things people ask about Toastmasters is, well, when do I graduate? There is no graduation. And one of the best answers I heard about that is, well, when's the graduation from life? Because you're changing along with the program. And you may have joined, say you were going to be the best man at your brother's wedding. That's why you joined. Well, the wedding's over. Now it's time to work on your career. So you're constantly doing your goals are constantly changing, and you're building upon the success of itself. There is no teacher. We all help ourselves. It's essentially a self-help support group. I use the analogy, and I hope I don't offend anybody here, it's sort of like AA, but for the people with a fear of public speaking. It's AA for the introverts, where we are self-policed, we monitor ourselves, we help each other. Toastmasters does provide a framework, which I'll get to in a second. And then, but as far as the meetings themselves, they're very structured. We have an agenda. If you walk into a Toastmasters meeting, you should be handed the agenda as soon as you walk in. And we have a grammarian who is the most hated role because they count the ums, the ahs, the nos, the filler words. That scares people more than anything during it. We also have a timer who times the speeches. And it's not so much to, to vilify people, but when you're asked to give a speech, like today, I was asked, how long do I have to talk for? It wasn't like, well, just talk until you run out of stuff to say. They said, talk for about 20 minutes. So if somebody can give me the sign when I start to go over, because I have a lot to cover. And then we have something called table topics. where it's sort of like the question of the day here, where you have to practice talking on your feed. And it helps with job interview skills. It also helps with the Rotary. It would help if you were talking to somebody, you were doing a fundraising thing, and says, well, why should I contribute or why should I get involved? It helps you think like that, because public speaking is a muscle that you need practice at learning. And then we have usually prepared speeches, and the prepared speeches are generally on any topic. The sky is the limit. Most clubs do shy away from the hot button subjects, the politics, religion, all that, because we don't really want fistfights at our meetings. It's just, and then we have evaluations at the end of each meeting. When you speak, you're evaluated. And the reason is because most people join Toastmasters, like I said before, to get over the fear of public speaking. They get over that after their first 3 or 4 speeches. At that point, you want to constantly get better. And that's how you do it. We don't do it to be mean. We do it so you can improve upon yourself. The speeches, though, are out of, we just unveiled, and I'm going to share my screen here. Bear with. I was disabled from screen sharing. But anyway, so we have a thing called Pathways.
You should be able to share now.
Okay, cool, thanks. Just bear with me 1 second, still getting used to this new technology. So pathways, those are the list of paths that are available. And it shows the diversity of what people are looking for out of Toastmasters International. And each of them have their own specific skill sets to work on. But no matter which one of these paths you choose, the first 4 projects are all the same. The first speech is the icebreaker. And the icebreaker, the purpose of it is to get up and introduce yourself to the group. It's 4 to 6 minutes. And a successful icebreaker is one where you don't run out of the room, you don't pass out, and you don't throw up. The second one is similar to the icebreaker, but the purpose of that is to get evaluated on your speech and then incorporate it into your third speech. So you're basically, it's teaching people how to use the evaluations positively. And then the fourth one is a research and presentation. I equate it to a 6th grade book report. And then after that, you go into your other paths. And I know I'm running short on time, so I'm going to skip to the Rotary portion of it. And then, so as Jay said, Rotary and Toastmasters about 1.5 years ago announced that they had developed a partnership. And amazingly, as large organizations do, they didn't really give you any details. And the details have started to come out over the past 6 months. But this is what we encourage, is Toastmasters to visit Rotary clubs, Rotarians to visit Toastmasters clubs, hold some joint meetings, and we have started to plan some joint meetings. Right at the very beginning of this, I was scheduled to do a joint meeting with the Plymouth Whitemarsh chapter, and that got scrapped because of it. At Now in Town location, I believe it was in Whitehall, they were supposed to do one. So after we come back to normal, we want to see if we can join together for the mutual benefits. If you're looking to find a Toastmasters meeting, reach out to one. If you go to toastmasters.org, up in the top thing, there's a thing that says find a club. Just type in your zip code and it'll give you clubs near you. This is the biggest thing to come out of it is Toastmasters International has developed modules specifically for Rotary members. They're not all available. If you see the couple that are highlighted, to develop a speech and deliver a speech, those 2 are available right now. The others are on track to come out this year. What COVID has done, I don't know if that's going to affect, if it's going to push them any into next year or not, but they will be available, and they're specifically designed to help the Rotary Club out. And then, stop sharing. Okay, and then just a couple of things about what Toastmasters has taught us. like you, we can no longer meet in person. Toastmasters have learned to accept challenges. Clubs, day one, clubs were like, okay, we'll just meet online. And it was like they had planned for it for years. And we started meeting online. And some of the meetings are great. And like you have your twin club, it's enabled us, since almost all the clubs in the world are meeting online, we've been able to attend meetings around the world. This past Saturday, I was in a club in Bangladesh. A friend of mine from Richmond, she helped organize 70 members from 70 countries Toastmasters meeting. It was amazing just to see from 70 different countries, people all coming together, all wanting to improve themselves and help others. So at this time, I guess I will take any questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hopefully you'll be able to save the English language from the frequent use of like and you know, because I'm hearing young people trying to talk to each other, and there's more like and you knows in the sentence than there are other actual words. Are you dealing with that, or is your age group, your demographic, still speaking English?
Well, that is something that the grammarian, the counter is at every meeting to point that out, because they're filler words. Most people do not know they're saying that. And that's why we have them at the meeting, because once we point it out, people are more likely to realize that they're saying it and it's distracting. So that is something we are very aware of, and we are trying to work out. You know is one of my crutch words, especially when I've gotten better. I do slip into the you knows every once in a while. The one thing I will warn you, if you do become a Toastmaster and do attend regularly, you cannot listen to sports stars or entertainers interviewed. They use them a lot, and it just gets to a point where I've had to change the channel, and I'm not exaggerating.
If I can
Thanks, Joe.
just,
I love your presentation, and I'm curious how we can, as Rotarians, promote the collaboration. And I'm wondering if both organizations from the motherships are going to be creating social media images or messages that we will be able to forward and try to get both of our organizations more closely working together, because it sounds great. I just didn't know what tools will we be given, if any, so that we can spread the message.
Yeah, I know that they're working on things, and I know that they had some stuff planned to announce at the convention in August in Paris, but that has been canceled. So they're trying to figure out what's going on, and a lot of plans that they had were changed because they had to devote resources from promoting this to just figuring out, okay, what's the next step in Toastmasters. More information will be coming. In all honesty, I was a little disappointed because they had the announcement at the Rotary convention last year, and they were balloons, confetti, everything. Now what? And several Toastmasters are very involved with the Rotary clubs in central Pennsylvania. It's like, well, have you heard anything? No. So the motherships do need to do a better job of promoting this. Right now, they're leaving it up to the clubs to work together and figure out what works for each of us.
Well, Joe, two things. One, we've all been invited to our Rotary International Convention. It's now a virtual meeting. The Honolulu convention was canceled, as was yours in August in Paris. So I guess Jay will be sending out reminders of the dates in June, and then perhaps that if we can both find out if the Toastmaster Rotary relationship is going to be discussed in any of the breakout sessions or whatever, it would be a good notice for us. I might be able to find out that information from the Rotary angle through Jeff Cataret, who is a Rotary International director from our district. I guess the other thing is, it really is up to clubs to work together, apparently. So we do have a membership committee in our club, and we'd be happy to talk with you and anyone else to start to develop a relationship And perhaps we can use it as a model for the district going forward.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I'm disappointed because I've been meeting with the Plymouth White Marsh group for a while, trying to work out the logistics. We had the meeting planned for, I think it was March 22nd, whatever that Monday was. And about a week before they said, okay, we're going to have to cancel it. But that's one of the things, like I said in my speech about Toastmasters, is it allows the clubs to have a lot of latitude in planning what they want to do. I'm not all that familiar with Rotary. I'm not sure how much flexibility you have, but as far as the protocols, so that may be why they're leaving it up to individual clubs to work out their individual relationships.
Sure, and I can introduce you to our incoming district governor, who
okay, that'd be great.
From the Rotary Club of King of Prussia, and we're starting to plan events. For example, the 2021 district conference planning committee just met. And we might be able to see if we can weave some of these, some activity into that convention going forward.
Yeah, Oscar and Marva have my email address, so they can share it with you and we can connect.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up Joan's earlier point. Well, let me tell you a quick Toastmaster story first, if I could. I was a member of a Toastmasters club in South Jersey when I was at a prior CPA firm, and we partnered up with a CPA firm and did a combined company Toastmasters club. And I was only there a short time because I think I moved on and took another position, but I did the icebreaker speech. So I learned pretty quickly that this grammarian was counting all the ums and et cetera. So I caught on to that pretty quickly. So I said, I'll be damned if I'm going to have, all these ums being counted. So every time I wanted to or I wanted to do something, I paused. So so afterwards, when I got graded, I didn't have any ums or the other words that they were counting, but I got reprimanded, so to speak, for all the pauses I had in my speech. So it was pretty funny. So, but it's a great experience. It's a great club. So yeah.
And that's one of the things. It comes over time and it's practice. The analogy I use is it's like going to the gym, where if you go to the gym every day for a year, you're going to start to build muscle tone. Then when COVID hits and you don't go for 8 weeks, you start to get a little flabby. It's the same thing with public speaking. That's what the secret behind Toastmasters is. It's repetition. Each time you do it, you're going to get a little bit better.
Yeah. The question I had is follow up with Joan, because I was going to ask her the same thing about the word like, and because it's out of control. It gets me twitching when I'm hearing people. And it seems like it's with young people. So are you seeing young people joining Toastmaster clubs?
We get it all over the demographics. Generally, people don't join it until their mid-20s when they start to take the first and second levels of their career. We've tried to start clubs at the college level. The problem is it's hard to sustain them because every 3 months, people leave. They leave. The first semester ends, then there's a break, then this winter comes, then they take the summer off. It's hard to sustain college clubs. There's some very successful ones. Toastmasters does have something called the Youth Leadership Partnership, where we get high school age children, and that's a closed end. It's an 8-week course to help them practice their public speaking. I'd love to see more college kids get involved with that. My daughter just graduated from University of Alabama, and I keep telling her she should join because it will help her with job interview skills. It will help her with her career. But if you've had 20-something-year-old children, they never listen.
Well, it's funny, in school nowadays, kids are, in front of the class speaking, more than I ever did when I was in school. And it just seems like it's not helping. So I'm thinking, my idea is like a kindergarten Toastmasters club. I think we should start them right then. Anyway, thank you for that.
Okay.
Joe, what club are you in?
I am in actually 3 clubs. My home club is Mainline Toastmasters. We meet in Conshohocken. I help charter a club in Ardmore, Pennsylvania that's called Haverford Toastmasters. And then I just joined club. It's an advanced club, and we focused on heavy duty evaluations. And the name of the club is Brutally Honest with Love Toastmasters, because we want to give hard-hitting evaluations. So we're going to be brutally honest when you go there. People know the expectations, and people want it because they need those hard-hitting evaluations to take their speaking to the next level. And I'm also a member of a virtual club in Richmond, Virginia, again, advanced club that focuses on leadership.
Are there any more questions? All right. Joe, thank you so much for coming here today. And please don't leave yet. We're not quite done, but we appreciate it very much. And we have a tradition in our club for anyone who takes the time to speak to our club members. We will present to you, I'll mail something to you later when I get their address. We're going to inoculate 5 children in your honor to prevent them from getting polio. This is a signature project of Rotary for the last 20 years. And so we're going to inoculate 5 children in your honor, 6 children in your honor.
Oh, that's great. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. It's a call for happy dollars now. And as people are thinking about that, I did want to make a short announcement too that I have been in contact with the Pyramid Club, and in anticipation of someday going back there, hopefully sooner than later, but taking the steps to make sure that everything is safe and our members will be comfortable. That's the 2 goals that I have. And it's a kind of an ongoing process. They've done a lot of great things in order to make that happen. To give you an example, they will not have buffet. It's going to be a plated meal. So there's a lot of little things like that. And as that information comes out, I will be in touch with all of our lunch members and probably a survey about when we want to go back. So I wanted to mention that. So call for happy dollars. All right. I have, oh, go ahead, Lisa.
I just wanted to see if we could all pose for a photo. We could
okay.
On social media. So if you want to turn your cameras on, if you can, and smile, and either Oscar can take a screenshot or I will just do it this way. So everybody.
You want to do that now?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Everybody's smiling. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
I'll do one as a screenshot too, Lisa.
Oh, that's better. Thanks.
All right, ready?
Okay, smile.
3, 2, 1.
Good. Okay.
Right? Got it. Okay, perfect.
Thanks, Jay. That's it.
All right, I have 2 happy dollars. I'll go first. And for our visitors, happy dollars is a tradition in Rotary, and particularly in our club, that if anyone has an announcement to make, we charge them $1, and it goes towards our efforts in the club. First happy dollar is for our speaker today, Joe. Thank you for coming. It was very enlightening. My second happy dollar goes to all those who have made this rather challenging year really work. Everyone has really stepped up to the plate, and really appreciate it very, very much. Thank you.
I did just think of something I am happy about. The other day during that windstorm, next door neighbor's big tree branch fell, and right now it's sitting on my power line as well as my cable internet line. But everything has stayed on, so I've been able to continue working. There's been no real disruption. So for that, I give a virtual $1 of happiness.
Oh, that's great.
I have a happy dollar it's kind of an odd happy dollar. Tonight should have been my daughter's rehearsal dinner, and Saturday would be her wedding. So in an odd way, I have a happy dollar for my family, including my daughter, her fiance, my wife, and I, that we're all healthy, and that we're able to postpone that for a year from this Saturday. So, but it's kind of an odd feeling. So anyway.
Can I just make a suggestion? Kurt, we'd love to do something to kind of just help cheer your daughter. Is there any like little video message we could record right now for her and her fiance or anything?
Well, you know what's, you kind of, we were talking about what you learned through this whole stuff is, my daughter, and a lot of you know her pretty well. She's really kind of an emotional person. I think we're similar in that way. She's handled this remarkably well. When she decided to postpone this thing, it was, there was not a tear, she wasn't upset. This is kind of what it is, and we're good. We're healthy. Everything's moving forward. I mean, they've had all kinds of things happen in their lives. If you follow me on Facebook, my daughter's fiance graduated from medical school, and he had to do that virtually. They had match day, which is a big deal in the medical world, virtually. No bachelor party, all that kind of stuff was canceled. But they've been pretty well. So I appreciate the thought. And nothing off the top of my head comes to mind, Lisa. But they're getting through it pretty good.
Well, then, since the meeting's being recorded, I just feel like I want us to give her a little shout out. So tell everybody the names of the bride and the groom, and I think we should just do something. Spur of the moment.
Well, my daughter is Kelly. We call her Kelly Jo Strummel. Her fiance is Richard Suarez. They're both, well, he's 28, she's 27. And they went to high school together, middle school together, and separated, and then came back, and they're two great young adults, if I do myself.
We have met them both, Kelly Jo and Richie. Most of us have met them. They are a great couple. So just on behalf of the Rotary Club of Philadelphia, to the future bride and groom, we just want to give you our best. And we know this is an unexpected challenge, but it sounds like you're handling it great. And we know that your future will be super bright, full of lots of love and happiness. Can we all just give a big wave? And kisses and lots of love. Kelly,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lisa, for that. Really, very much appreciated.
Okay. All right. So are there any other happy dollars? Okay. All right. Our next meeting is, it's a little bit different. It's a board meeting, but it's next Friday, not Thursday at noon. And I believe that's May 29th. So mark your calendars. Even though it's a board meeting, we're very open. Any of the members are invited to join us. And there's certainly a number of issues that we needed to discuss going forward. Is there anything else for the club?
I'll just say on that Friday, on Netflix, it's the premiere of Space Force.
Wow.
That's funny.
Yes.
Very timely.
Yeah.
Great.
Sorry.
Is there anything else? All right. All right. Thank you so much for today's meeting. Enjoyed it very much. Looking forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, John Duff, and I hope you enjoyed the meeting.
Thanks for having me. I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.